Welcome again, everybody, and thank you for joining our global webinar day on Keep Your Inventory Up to Date using Infosim StableNet Automated Discovery and Interfacing with FNT Command. My name is Marc, Director of Sales Europe with Infosim, and I will be your moderator for today's event. Joining us from his office in Munich is Peter Moessbauer, our Strategical Alliance Manager, who will guide us through the presentation. Good afternoon, Peter.
Good afternoon, Dietmar.
Also joining us from our headquarter office here in Würzburg is my colleague Marc Scheib. Marc is one of our consultants and will, in the second part of our webinar, present us the live demo of the interface between Infosim StableNet and FNT Command. Marc, are you here as well?
Of course. Good afternoon, Dietmar.
All right. So before I hand over to Peter, just a couple of household items. I wanted our audience to know that all of you are automatically muted to keep down the background noise during the webinar. So in order for us to answer your questions, please type them in the questions window at the bottom of the GoToMeeting application. We will be answering all questions either directly during the webinar through the chat or right after the presentation and live demo in our Q&A session. Also, please be aware that this event is being recorded and all registrants will be notified via email tomorrow on how to access the recording. Well, that's it from my part so far, so I'd like to go ahead, turn things over to our presenter, Peter Moessbauer. Peter, you ready?
Of course. So, Dietmar, thank you very much, and good afternoon, and welcome to our viewers and listeners here. I have the pleasure this afternoon to show you the solution, the joint solution we have created together with our partner FNT, and this solves many headaches and a lot of work and issue you're normally having by keeping your inventory up to date. You know, you can do it manually and try to get your organization to report you the inventory every day, fill it into a system, and of course it's a task for quite often specialists, but it's not very exciting to do it every day, and there are better ways to automate it. So as we have with StableNet a management system which is highly automated and also supports automated discovery, it was an ideal combination to provide this inventory information, the real stuff, to an inventory system or IT asset management system like FNT Command. So let's just go in. Some words about Infosim first. Well, Infosim is a Germany-based company. All the development and the HQ, the headquarter, is in Würzburg in Germany. We also have offices in USA, an organization there, as well as with Singapore and the United Kingdom. Infosim is specialized with their flagship product StableNet on fault, performance, and configuration management. And the key element here is that it's an automated solution. As maximum, it shall discover and monitor and report as far as possible in an automated way. Of course, it can be adapted and customized as required, but the point is to save you really time and a lot of headaches on managing IT and telco and MSP organizations and operations. Yeah, as said, StableNet does take care about configuration management, change management, fault, performance. It also has a built-in automated root cause analysis, and we call it a third generation unified management tool because of this integration and high degree of automation, which is different from most products in the market. Most products were grown over time in terms of integrating various well-known products on the market, and they put a marketing label on, call that a suite or a consistent solution. But actually, if you don't have it designed from the scratch to be consistent, to bundle 3 or more products together, will be very, very hard to make it consistent, and last not least, very hard to really monitor and manage services. What does StableNet cover? Well, StableNet covers from networks across servers, applications, up to integrating of own IT business processes, and we call it cross-silo operation, because just think of a service. If you run a service, whatever, online banking or so, it doesn't just consist of a network. It has servers, applications, business processes in, and if something fails and the performance is not there, you need to know what is the guilty part. You know, like if a device is failing, you would like to know what areas, what users are affected, or if a service is failing, what is causing the problem, and that goes down to root cause analysis. And of course it must be quick and automated. You know, if you have to wait for a result half an hour, that is no good. If you get it within a minute or less, it will help you to restore the service quickly. And in addition, what we also do is trending, and when you for instance see how long does it take to have a disk capacity filled up, or it could be 3 months, or how long does it take to reach an SLA level, you don't need to wait that long. You can do something before, and StableNet will help you on that. In addition, it's also highly scalable because it works from mid-size enterprise to large enterprises to large telcos without any really hard limit on that. Solution strengths, yeah, it's a comprehensive solution. It does the approach to the environment in a very holistic way. As it's based on a consistent database, it does avoid the lengthy and time-consuming integration, which normally has to take place somewhere, you know. And from the architecture, as it's a distributed architecture and it scales by distributed StableNet agents, there's no hard limit on it. It can go to very, very large telco networks. Also, it allows to do end-to-end monitoring, to really do reference testing on services. And when you comes to the commercial part, the ROI is in months, not years. And this is on the software, it's on the system size, and it's also on the effort you have to put in to get it into operation. Coming now to infrastructure discovery, which is a key element when you want to collect physical real inventory data out of IT infrastructures or telco infrastructures. You need to read in somehow this information, and StableNet has a subsystem which is a discovery engine, a very, very flexible and powerful engine which works across the agents, and it can discover infrastructures on a scheduled base, on a trigger base, basically ad hoc, you know. Scheduled is you discover your infrastructure every day, usually at night, or you can do it more often if you want. And trigger is you might bring a new department, but you need to have the inventory information right away. So you would just do it ad hoc. You can call it a trigger and get it there. Also, it can be triggered from other systems like FNT Command to read in the inventory information when needed or update it, you know, on any change. Then change manager, you know, you can also work with that, with this information, as we can also read in configurations of devices, and you can also change them, write them out, do mass configurations. Last not least, a topology engine. You know, you would like to know where are your devices, systems, how are they interconnected, and you also need to know, you know, it's not always a simple interconnection, you know, like a direct line. It's normally in distributed networks, layer 2 VPNs, layer 3 VPNs, MPLS, IP, all that things, and StableNet will nicely show that also on maps. Not all information is coming per default from the infrastructure itself. It might be also stored in CMDBs. This can be also added, integrated, combined as is needed. And one nice thing, as we know the devices and we know what usually to do with, StableNet can also be enabled to do auto-start monitoring after discovery. So we identify a router, we know what you would normally do, you can start that automatically, and or switches or servers, and this also takes a lot of work from offloads from the normal daily operations business, and makes life easier again. As promised, we can also show the topology on maps. It can be geomaps, it can be based on OpenStreetMaps, it can be just on the pure network type layout, it can be put on weather maps, you can drill down into details, and of course you can also go in and examine and read out all the infrastructure and device details. So you can see interfaces on server systems, you can see what service packs, what software was installed, and things like that. It depends on your environment, but it goes, what it can read from the devices, it will be also able to present that to you, and to use it also for inventory management systems. And as StableNet is a full-blown management system, you can also go in on real-time and analyze data. And you can build up your own weather maps to perhaps reflect your business infrastructure. And it can go to the very large, you can have very simple dashboards, but you can drill down then into the details, and you can also see what is connected basically to what, at what interface, at what bandwidth, is there an issue with that, and which also helps to and eases the operation. Now coming to, we discovered the data, we're coming to making use of this inventory data with FNT Command and the integration. So it's possible from StableNet, the inventory is discovered via the distributed agents, and we can export that inventory discovered data to the database of FNT Command, which is an IT asset management. And on the other way around, StableNet FNT Command can also request to us that we discover a certain area. They can request that we discover just a certain business organization, a certain department, whatever, just as an update, and this can be very flexibly handled. But in total, it's automated. That saves really the time and the headache. Just about FNT Command, it's a well-known and a very advanced solution in terms of IT asset management, and there you can handle all the inventory, the workflow, when you buy a device, when it will be in the storage, when it will be rolled out, when it should be in operation, and when it finally ends end of life or end of service, take it back, and you can handle that. And StableNet does deliver for that the physical information. So FNT Command says, okay, this device should be now deployed in an operation, and in StableNet you will see, okay, it's there or it will be not there, because it was unfortunately it was not deployed. It's still in the storage, but you have a real image about what this device is in, and in StableNet you also see the administrative status. You will know, is this currently under maintenance, or should be this in operation? And there's a joint interface between the two systems to exchange this information. These systems can actually be fully distributed across countries, across agents. So every StableNet agent can, for instance, run in a different IP domain or in a different company. So you could have it running, one is running for an MSP service at Lufthansa, at Air France, at British Airways, and so you can, and it all it makes operation available in a very secure way, and it's also multi-tenancy approved, so it can have, it does support overlapping IP addresses. Good. So let's have a look at how the solution looks like by itself, or the setup or the integrated solution. You see on the right hand, on the low end, you see StableNet agents which are addressing the physical infrastructure. They are distributed across the different organizations, country, regions. Excuse me. And you have a central StableNet server, at least one server, and this server does export the inventory data via an FNT Command auto discovery gateway, which is a piece of software in the FNT Command inventory management. On the other way around, discovery data can be requested from Command from the StableNet server, which will deliver, which will trigger then the discovery, and as in on the return, will return the the inventory data export. Yeah, what does it solve? The integration enables
Well, Peter, maybe just take a moment and cough a little bit.
Yeah, I was running this presentation today before, and several in between, so
yeah.
I'm running now a little bit out of voice, but I think I recovered. So.
Yeah, well, this is what it's a global webinar day, so this is not the first webinar we're doing today. So, but if you caught your breath, then just try to carry on.
Yeah, I will. I think we can.
We're with you, Peter. We're with you all the way.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay, what does it solve? Yeah, it solves the automated integration and discovery of and read-in of inventory data. That's the key thing, running across servers, routers, switches, load balancers, mainly on the device level. So you will see the devices, and whatever is in the MIB can be read in and also can be exported. Then in FNT Command, if the device is already known, it will update it automatically and at the right position wherever it was excuse me, wherever it was placed. And if it's not in there, it will go in a zone in the staging area where you can then manually position it into the department, organization, floor plan. Where's it? You know, if there is some topology information, we could also exchange that, but normally the physical network doesn't know where it's placed in a computer center, but that's a much easier task for the operator to do that, and that can be done interactively in FNT Command. Yeah, but now we will come to the promised online demo. You know, PowerPoint presentation slides, or you can put anything on, but we can also show it in a real life environment. And I would now ask Dietmar to hand over the presentation to our colleague Marc Scheib, who will take you through the real life installation. Please, Marc.
Thank you very much, Peter. Now, enjoy your little break. We'll have to talk later after the presentation again. So, you know, prepare yourself. You will need a little bit of voice later.
Okay, I will do. Thanks, Dietmar.
All right, Marc, you have control.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dietmar. Before switching over to the live demonstration, I will quickly add some slides on the architecture of our demo lab installation and on the steps that will happen in the live demonstration. So at first, have a quick look on the architecture. On the left side, we have our FNT Command installation, which holds a logical inventory view of the network. So this is completely maintained manually, and if there are changes in the network, someone has to integrate these changes in this inventory view. And on the other side, we have our StableNet product, which consists of the server, the agent, and the GUI. And with this product, we offer the discovery and the automated integration of new discovered device data or inventory data into FNT Command. These steps are now shown to you in the live demonstration. So what will happen exactly? We have this FNT Command inventory view of the network. We have three devices, for example, a router, a switch, and a server. And probably most of our listeners here have these FNT Command instance running, and their StableNet instance is completely empty. So as a first step, we have to use StableNet to start a discovery, and in this discovery the device data of FNT Command is used. Running this discovery will obtain the real network view to StableNet and to the user, and we can now see how the switches and routers and servers are connected to each other, and we also get real data from the devices, so we can see which interfaces are on the device, which modules are in a chassis, and so on. Then in the next step, we are still using StableNet to monitor or discover further changes in the network. So think about you are going to add a new device to your network. So this is important that StableNet discovers this device to then export the data to FNT Command. Normally you have to go to Command and integrate this new device manually. And of course also changes in the network to existing devices are discovered by StableNet and then exported to FNT Command. So we are here able to discover everything, every changes, every additions, or even removals of devices in the network via the StableNet discovery. And then in the last step, we want to export the newly discovered data to FNT Command. And to do so, we have an export job in StableNet, which exports the discovered data to FNT Command, and in FNT Command our logical inventory view is then updated with our new data. So we have here this router A, which was changed before, and we have this router D, which was newly discovered by StableNet. And what is also important here, each of these three steps is completely automatic, so I don't have to do this manually. I can schedule these jobs in StableNet, and depending on my time settings, all steps are executed automatically. Of course, in this live demonstration now, we will go through these steps manually, and to show the impact of StableNet to FNT Command, we are also doing some small changes to our network configuration. So at first I will show you our FNT Command instance with the logical view of the network. To do so, I switch to the navigator and quickly give you an overview of what is exactly in our FNT Command included. So for example, we have this Singapore location here with headquarter Asia. We have 3 floors, and in the data center floor we have a computing room which contains one router here. So you can see we have a Cisco 3640, and it has 2 network cards in it. I can, for example, take a network card here, open it, and look at the data which is currently maintained manually by an employee, for example. And we also have port data here, so I can open data of specific ports, and you can see here all the device data which is also maintained manually. So what we want to do now is getting new data from StableNet into FNT Command. For that I switch over to StableNet now, and you can see here that my StableNet isn't completely empty. Normally you would probably have no devices in here or no measurements. We have added this router to give you a quick insight of changes in the network later on in this demonstration. So what I first will do is use the StableNet discovery and the logical view of FNT Command to integrate all devices from FNT in StableNet. To do so, I'll start this discovery job. The job connects to the FNT Command database and gets all devices in there. What is important here, the devices which are included here depend on the status in FNT Command. So I will quickly jump back to FNT. If you go to the navigator and take a router, for example, we have this CI status here, and the CI status has 6 different categories. It can be on installed, plant installed, and plant removed. And depending on which category is selected here, StableNet adds this device, or if it's plant removed, it removes the device if the job is scheduled automatically. So depending on what my settings in FNT commands are, we have the same inventory settings in StableNet. And as the discovery job runs, we can see in the StableNet inventory that data is, or devices are added to the inventory of StableNet. So we can see here Singapore device was there before, but we have newly discovered devices like Berlin, Dallas, and New York in here. And with this discovery process, we also get data from the devices. So we can see we have neighbor data gathered from CDP. We have module data, which is very important because this is the data we want to update in FNT Command. But we also have interface data here. And another important thing to mention here is that we also can switch over from StableNet, or more exactly from StableNet devices directly to FNT Command, or to the device in FNT Command. And therefore we use this inventory number which comes from FNT Command itself. So this inventory number is read out from the database as well and included in here. So in some seconds the discovery should be finished, and what we now want to do is add a change to our network. As I mentioned before, we already had a Singapore device in here, and I will now go to change the interface description of this interface here. This is a good example, as we can directly change with StableNet the configuration of a device. And as you remember, I showed you the interface in FNT Command before, and the description was included there. So we can directly see the changes of a device in FNT Command. So the discovery now also finished, and we can see we have 9 successfully discovered new devices, and we have also some devices which failed to discover. This may be because FNT Command holds some other devices which are not included in our testbed currently. So what I do now is change this interface description with a configuration job. So this is something which is also possible in StableNet. I switch to the device automation theme, which holds all jobs. So remember, the jobs I recently executed manually are normally executed automatically depending on which schedule settings I give to the job. So in this case, for example, the discovery runs daily at 14 o'clock about. And I also can schedule configuration jobs. I will also execute this job manually. So I start this job, and this will quickly change the interface description of the device in my network. So if we switch over to the inventory, we can see that this interface holds the global webinar day, and now as the configuration job finishes, I only need to do a new discovery to get the new or the updated device data from my network. What is also of interest is the configuration of the device. It's a Cisco router, and we can also back up the configuration. And to quickly show you that the configuration was successful, I will use the configuration file which was backupped before the configuration job was executed, and the configuration file which was taken from the device after the successful execution. And if I'm doing a configuration diff, you can see that my configuration job was successful. Before, the description was Global Webinar Day, and now I changed the description to Global Webinar Day Europe. So the next step is to update this inventory data here. You can still see that the description is Global Webinar Day. So I need to discover my network again. In this case, I don't use the same job as I used to get the data from FNT Command. This can also be a possibility, but probably there may be some cases where new devices are added to the network. As you remember the slides, it may be possible that someone added new devices to the network, and this is why I use this discovery job to go directly on IP ranges. And as you will see in some seconds, in our case, we will get a new device in our inventory which was added, and we also will get updated data of each device in our inventory. So as you can already see, the interface description was updated here, so it's not Global Webinar Day anymore, but GWD Europe. So we have successfully updated this interface data, and you can also see the network discovery dialog here, and we have a new device added to our inventory. So this device is listed here, and we also have our updated data, and this data and the new device will now be exported to FNT Command via our custom service jobs. So here, if you are using the FNT Command exporter module, you will get a new custom service jobs to those who are already familiar with StableNet. And in this tab, I can execute the exporter job. This job is very quickly, so I directly get a result of the job, and you can see some information on what was exported and if there were some errors. What is important here is the statistic summary, so we can see which data was exported. We have some port data, we have chassis, we have modules, we have devices. And to show you what will happen in FNT Command, we also take this stage number here. So the stage number 40 will be important now for us to import the data in FNT Command. So these steps that I executed manually here are normally executed automatically in a live environment. So this is only for showcase or how the complete integration works. I will now switch back to FNT Command and open the StableNet interface module. So this is listed here on the main page of the command interface. And in this interface, I first import the recently exported scan data from StableNet. You can see that the import was successful, and now on the left side I have this menu points variance comparison, and here I have different categories like chassis, modules, submodules, etc. And I can now search this stage 40. And in this imported data, you can see all the devices and the device data which was imported from StableNet. And for example, we have again our Singapore router and also the new discovered London router. And in this column back here, we have this comparison result. And what is of interest here, the London device has this entry import. So this means it's a device which isn't included in FNT Command currently. So this may be one device we can add to command. So we right click on it, do a comparison, click OK, and we can see that the device was successfully imported to FNT Command. I will show you in some minutes the device in the navigator tree. What is also important here, we changed the Singapore router, but as we are in the chassis menu, there's no update in here. So as you remember, we changed the interface, and because of that I switched to the ports menu, and here we can see all imported interfaces, and I will quickly sort these tables by the column port description, and in one row we should find the Global Webinar Day Europe. So here you can see this interface I changed, and back here in the comparison result column again we can see that an update was done. So we see that this network data was successfully exported and integrated into FNT Command. And if you don't do this manually, this is a completely automatic process. So to show you the data in the navigator view, I quickly jump back to StableNet, because we have the possibility to jump to FNT Command devices directly via StableNet. So I'll go to the inventory of StableNet, right click on a device which is exported to FNT Command, and I can go to the menu point connect to device, FNT Command navigator to device. So this is an easy possibility to quickly find devices in FNT Command. So think about, we only have about 10 devices in here. If there are thousands of devices, it's probably hard to find the correct devices, especially if they have completely different names. So here you can see it has only a visible ID, which doesn't directly tell me about which device is this. So here I again have my two card slots, and this card slot should now be updated with my new interface description. So I switch to the object management and the port data, and here in my port data I again have the Ethernet 3/1 port, and if I open this I see that the description was updated successfully. So there was no manual process in here in updating the device or the interface description. And I can also see now that in my Singapore headquarters I have a new device in my computing room. Before there was only the Singapore device, but my London device was also added in here. But unfortunately it's a test device. In our demo lab here we have no modules integrated in here. Okay, now this was it from my side on the live demonstration. I will give back to Dietmar and Peter.
So Marc, thank you very much for the presentation. I will now switch to my screen again. Yeah, some words about the demo lab installation and the solution itself. The solutions can be fully distributed, as StableNet can be distributed between servers and agents. Also the command installation can be set up in different locations. So frequently we use an installation where we have FNT Command, including the StableNet server at FNT in Ellwangen in Germany, and we have the StableNet agent sitting in Würzburg at the Infosim demo lab, accessing the physical demo infrastructure. So, and also as Marc was sitting at Infosim in Germany, the StableNet users can be also distributed across organizations, countries. So as you need it, you can have it in one location, but you can also, if you have larger organizations, you can split it apart as required, and that opens also a high degree of flexibility. Yeah, wrap up and a summary on that. There are 5 key benefits that I would like to highlight to you. First, quick time to market, cost reduction, services quality is a key element, and what is it about? Well, first, as StableNet is a solution which can cover networks, servers, applications up to integrating IT business processes, you can minimize the zoo of management systems. So instead of having a dedicated management system for every specific technology and area or so, you can do it in one system. Also, the inventory will come out of one system. Also, if you have to integrate with incident management systems, it will be one integration, a very easy integration, as StableNet has the capabilities of doing root cause, automated root cause, so you will just get one trouble ticket, not 100, which help you in reducing the zoo of management systems. And it's a very advanced solution there. The inventory discovery and inventory change tracking can be fully automated, rather than doing it manually, which is like a race which you can never win. You can do it automatically and you get it every day. So a tedious task turning in something which is a very big advantage in terms of operation. Then you can automate your service assurance and quality monitoring. When StableNet discovers a certain piece of equipment, it can start automatically monitoring there. Of course, you can go in and adapt it as you need it, but the first thing when you run it, it will be already there doing the monitoring, and so you don't have to do everything over and over again. So just what you need to modify, you might have a specific backbone router which has a higher priority, and you can adapt to that. And then managed services, not silos. One key element about an integrated, unified solution is that StableNet is running on a consistent data model. And what does it mean? It enables you to manage services, because even if you have 3 different products doing the things, or 4 products, in the naming convention, like city names or so, I usually take the example of Munich or so, where you can write it in different ways, München, Munich, München, and you get all sorts of ways to get that wrong. It would never allow to really do to bring it into automated managed service or to monitor on services. So you would have to do a lot of manual interaction, which is very hard in terms of operations to really do that on a daily basis, and you always need experts on to do that. StableNet will take that burden off you and automate it in a to a high level of extent. Then, as said, it's based on the consistent data model. Absolutely key to keep the efforts down and in terms of management. StableNet is not a bundle of 3 different products. It's a consistent solution. You can also, it's a modular solution. You can use it as you need. We use it here with FNT Command in terms of mainly discovery and some utilization monitoring. But of course, you can expand it to a full solution, which finally keeps the integration costs and time and efforts down, and enables the automation, does allow service monitoring, and so on. Any questions on that? Well, are you usually keeping track of the questions which are coming in?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, as a matter of fact. Well, we have answered quite a number of questions during the presentation and the live demo already. None of those really are that complicated that we need to discuss them in this round here, unless there is something coming in right now. But I'd like to mention a couple of questions that have been asked repeatedly. One was about the presentation slides of this webinar, if they are available. Already put that in the chat. Just want to say that again in here. So yes, those presentation slides are of course available. And you just send a quick mail to either sales@Infosim.net or my email address. My email, Peter's, and Marc's email address are all in there. So just give us a quick email and we'll send you those slides. But other than that, I think we're pretty good, Peter. But there is more to come.
Of course, and we're also happy to do proof of concept tests with you, so where you can really try it and make your own experience with it. And as said, you can make your life easier with that. That's a key element. Good. Yeah. There's one thing I would like to share with you is, there are various organizations who are doing analysis on different solutions. One is the EMA organization with their famous EMA radar report. And with Infosim, we had started with the solution in 2003. And we made all our way now up to the right top corner of this radar report, and when you look at what it's about, it's a solution impact and the coverage of the features and the ease of operation, and also the other ranges, deployment of cost efficiency, and when you look at where we are, there are many famous names on there which have all the classical management solutions, the big ones, but many of them, I wouldn't say they are bad solutions, they are quite long on the market, but many of them, they have bought in the solutions, the different parts like fault, performance, root cause from different vendors and try to make a marketing package out of that. With Infosim, it's different. It was designed from scratch to be a consistent management solution, which makes the operation, integration, adaptation to your environments much, much easier. So usually I say it's 5 times quicker to deploy it than any other solution out there, and it scales from enterprise to very large telcos. And we're very proud about being there in the top right corner of this diagram. It's hard to go further right. Sometimes they say we are not big as the other companies or the big market players, but we're working on that, of course. So that's just what I wanted to share with you. So Dietmar, please.
Yes, just another remark, that EMA radar report for enterprise network systems is of course available through our website and also requestable via email. Again, if you're interested in that, just send us a quick mail. We also have a number of other resources on our website. I think that should be on the next slide. So if you need any more information, please feel free to visit the website. There is, again, a number of resources, videos, case studies, solution briefs, etc. And, of course, our software is also available for a 30-day free trial. So if you're interested in that, please visit the appropriate section, and we will contact you right after that. Well, I guess thank you, Peter, and thank you, Marc, very much for both your presentations and demo. And again, wanted to thank everybody for joining our session today. As I've mentioned earlier, a recording of this webinar will be made available to all of you tomorrow. You will receive a notification via email. Also, if you have any other question, again, please feel free to contact us, Peter, Marc, myself, or any other member of the sales staff at Infosim. We will keep this session open for a couple of more minutes, just in case anyone decides to type in a final or another question. So if you need our contact info, we'll keep that available for a couple of more minutes. All right. Again, thanks for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, and have a great day to all of you.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.